Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to do a test over here today to see if the recording that I'm making right now is going onto Twitch. So we're just going to go and check out some of my weapons and loadouts today. I'll have a little chat about that in case it does record, so we can go and start sharing some content. So you can see over here I've already made quite a number of them. The one that I've been using the most is this one over here. It's the SORG and the AS Val. AS Val is pretty slept on if you ask me. A lot of people don't like this weapon, but I'll show you right away why I like this weapon. Is right off the bat, as you can get with a barrel, you can get a suppressed long barrel, which means that you're actually getting a long barrel and a suppressor all in one attachment, which means that when you run your 5 attachments, and you can get your 2 5 attachments over here by running the overkill, and 2 primary weapons by running overkill, you can essentially get a 6 attachment weapon by running that suppressed long barrel. I like the Willis 3 times, as well as the vertical barrel undergrip, and then the extended mag 2, which gives us a 50 mag size, and the commando grip because I'm looking for that mobility and handling. I've sacrificed a little bit for firepower and accuracy there, but this is my go-to weapon right now, both long and medium term engagement, as well as most of the time short term engagement as well, because I am expecting to have a medium term engagement, and instead I actually have this weapon out as my primary after I pull out my knife. You'll see very commonly in my gameplay I run around with my knife out to speed up my transition and movement speed. So no customization or anything like that, just leave it alone. I find that customizing the weapon makes it look far too attractive for somebody to pick it up, and leaving it black like this actually means that people generally leave your weapons alone. So when you die, if you die, you can come back from the gulag or be rezzed by one of your teammates, and your weapons will still be there along with your perks package. Secondly, I'm using the SORG. The SORG, I'm looking for something that is very mobile, easy to use, something that I'm basically running around with the same speed as what I am going around with my knife. And I'm going to be using something with a very simple optic and looking for as low recoil as possible. So that's what that looks like over there. Accuracy is very high, mobility and handling is very high. Of course, the firepower is a little bit lower, but with the movement over here, you can aim to break your opponent's camera, or you can just literally outplay them, essentially using your tacticals and your grenades and that kind of thing, your primaries. As you can see over here, I have essentially just gone for the red dot with the muzzle brake. At this point, I don't care if I'm suppressed or not, just simply because of the fact that my opponent probably already knows where I'm at. So with that being said, I'm not going with a suppressor there. Underbarrel precision foregrip, this one I just went for that. I believe it was the best over here out of, yeah, there we go. You can see the stats yourself on what's happening there and why I chose a quick draw grip and a quick draw, the 9mm Parabellum. So that's going to give me a little bit more firepower there. If you see, if I take that off, go with rapid fire, you'll see that it increases my firepower, which this weapon was lacking. Let me show you guys something real quick. I don't know if you can do it in the firing range or not, but I will try. And that weapon, the SORG, was one that I found on the ground actually, and I found that I liked it. It wasn't a weapon that I was using. I was using the PDSW before. So let's have a look over here. Let's go over to that. So let me see if I can do it. So if you're in the game and you press inspect, which for me is I, you can inspect it, but it's not showing it right now. So down on the bottom right hand side of the screen, right next to where it says SORG and my ammo right now, it would show you the attachments, and I found that it had the quick draw commando grip, it had the Otra red dot, and it had one other attachment. So I figured I could obviously make that a little bit better, and I came out and made my own build. And so far that has been my go-to on pretty much any battle royale or loadout that I'm looking for. I'm looking for my perks package over here next. I actually want to change these. I've been finding that I don't use the concussion very much anymore, and I find that a stim shot would actually be more useful. I do like the frag grenades because that gives you a little bit of time to throw something out and play that movement, or you can cook the grenade and get the same benefits of a thermal grenade or of a Simtex. Of course, that's not as effective, I would say, as a drill charge if you're going to go ahead and have a lot of obstacles in your way and that kind of stuff. So let's have a look at the perks that I use. Perks reflexes. As you can tell, the reflexes over there is just delayed sprint. You know, a lot of people are using spring mines. It's something that a lot of people like to use, especially when you're going up those zip lines and those kind of things. So if people are camping the zip line, commonly by using reflex. You can actually make it by their landmines, and then you can get to a position where they're not expecting you to be, which is probably behind them. And with a coordinated attack with your teammate, you can very easily get by them and essentially just kill them, right? So next time over here, I'm using Tracker. One of the reasons why I like to use Tracker is once you land a hit, it's going to show you where that player goes. So even if they go behind cover, or even if they're running away, or if they lie down, it just makes it a lot easier for you to see them. And obviously, if you're tracking an opponent as well, you don't need to rely only on audio to chase them. I don't really like too many of the others. If I'm going to go with any of the others, I might go with Bomb Squad or with Quartermaster. And then lastly, I've got Ghost over here. A lot of UAVs being popped. So as long as you're moving, Ghost is going to keep you completely under the enemy radar there. It's not going to allow you to be seen. It's going to give you immunity to prox alarm and heartbeat. I think it works for UAV as well. I believe it does. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I've been very successful with essentially getting the surprise attack on a lot of my enemies with using those perks. So I'm just going to go ahead and update these over here real quick since I am here and I have been liking the stim lately. So I'm just going to go ahead and update all of those real quick. I like the shock charge as well. It's sort of like a landmine. You can't really see it, but hasn't been my go-to of late. So if you can see over here, one of the other weapons that I like to use is the Krig. The Krig recently got a buff. This was a build that I found from someone else, and I just changed the optic. I like that Wilson optic, so I've been using that and checking it out. But the Krig is not one that I like very much. So in fact, over here with my AR side by side, I've been going with the Grau or the 5.56, and you can see I'm busy leveling that up right now so that I can get the attachments that I want. I still don't have the exact same attachments as over here. And if you see, I'm running the long barrel with suppressor, which is 2 attachments as opposed to the 1 on the valve. And again, this is why this is my go-to. This being my go-to on my loadout over this one over here, although I do prefer the ARs. If I could get a suppressed long barrel here, I might prefer to run this. But the reason why I don't like this one just simply is because I've got to use that extra attachment just to get the suppressor and the long barrel, and that means that I'm not getting the mobility that I want, and that's what the sword does give me. So let's go ahead and just change the rest of these over here real quick. This was my original loadout that I was using, the PDSW. The PDSW took a nerf for some time, so it wasn't very good. It became, after Modern Warfare 2, where it was my favorite to use at the time, when the new Modern Warfare 3 essentially came out, when we went over to Black Ops 6 here. It got a pretty bad nerf, and the recoil was all over the place, so I moved away from that. But recently it's got a buff again. It's pretty good. I used to run it with a laser. Obviously that's going to expose you and show where you're at. It was only ADS at the time, but I'm not finding a laser. The other one that I've been trying to use is the Lachman Shroud. It's okay, not my favorite. I guess I've got another attachment that I can use there, so let me go over here. Laser empty, that's laser empty. Interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead. That one's lacking a bit of firepower, so I see. Okay, so I've got an aftermarket part over here, which is going to change it from a 3 burst to an automatic, and that's not allowing me to get. Here's the other one. Let's get some additional firepower. Let's see which one gives me the most. Alright, let's see. No enemy skulls. Okay, target flinch. Right, so we'll save that. I must have left that out. Maybe that's why I didn't like this weapon very much. Also, the optic on this one over here. Let me go ahead and change that to the Ultra Red Dot. No. If that is available, may not be available, which may be why I'm not using it. Let's have a look. I don't see it unless if it's locked and it's down here. Yeah, that might be why I'm using that optic. So not my favorite optic, but one that you can see the handling and the mobility. Everything suffers once you go down here. So you see there's the red on the right hand side there. So that's the best one for me right now. 50 round drum mag. It needs a little bit more ammo. I find that the recoil pattern on this one, which I'll show you over here, the recoil pattern on this one is quite bad, I think. At least for my game style. I didn't enjoy it, so let me go over here and show you right now. Oops, I left the firing range. Change loadout. Let's go over here. Okay, let's have a look. actually not too bad. I guess I just don't like the optic, or maybe I don't like the feel of it. I haven't played with this one too much. I did try it a little bit compared to the PDSW. The movement feels pretty good. So let's have a look over here. So it's pretty straight up, a little bit right, a little bit left, a little bit right, a little bit left. That might be what I'm not enjoying. So let's have a look at the sword. Let's put it right side by side. Oh man, it is substantially worse, but at the same time, this is, I guess, something that I'm used to, where you see a lot of the weapons do this kind of formation right here. Let's see what the Val does. Okay, pretty consistent. So actually, just looking at the recoil patterns, you're probably going to say that the Lachman Shroud is a little bit better than the one that I was using over here. Let's have a look also at the... this is the first time I'm really doing a lot of these kind of comparisons. But, this is a 3-burst, so it's probably not going to have the same kind of recoil pattern. But I'll hold the trigger down. We'll see what it does. So as you can see, super accurate, everything within that little bubble right there. And I guess what ends up happening is, tends to happen is, a lot of the weapons that you pick up have a recoil pattern. You get used to the recoil pattern. This is a very common one over here. And you end up compensating for that, or trying to move your reticle around, and actually end up missing the target, even though that is quite a good gun right there. So maybe I should consider moving over to the Grau and using the Lachman Shroud. So let's do a loadout like that then. Let's try that one. So as you can see, the Krig I set up with an 8 attachment, and the Val I set up with an 8 attachment. There is something on this one that I dislike, which is the laser. So that actually makes this one a little bit less attractive, because of course you're going to be having that. So let me see over here, underbarrel. Laser. Did not like the laser on this one at all, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I find that exposes me, and of course using the suppressor, the entire reason for using the suppressor is that when you're shooting at your opponents, whether they're close or further away, you just don't want to ping on their mini-maps. So you see over there, that's one of the benefits of using this over here. No mini-map firing ping, and the damage range is increased as well because it's a long barrel. So let's go over here, let's go ahead and set up that new... okay, so we'll do that. Okay, we'll rename it as Val 7, just so that I know it only has 7. Save. I didn't like the Krig very much, quite honestly. Didn't enjoy it. That's interesting. Maybe that is why I have not actually buffed this one out. Let's get the suppressor on it. We've got the Willis. We've got the gain twist barrel. We're going to go with a long barrel. Vertical foregrip extended mag, which is only giving us... Don't like the drum mags, they're a little bit slow for me. Let's see if we can get some more mobility on this one. It might have been that I didn't have any of these attachments unlocked, so that might be why I did not use that. Okay, so let's have a look at the difference between these two over here. Dive to fire speed, slide to fire speed, sprint to fire speed. I do sprint a lot more from sprint to fire speed. It's probably the one there. Stock, let's see if we can get the mobility up without going no stock. Strafing movement speed, we like very much. No laser, we have one more attachment, so fire mods. So let's go over here. I normally like the F and J. Yeah, we're lacking on the firepower, it's the only thing down right now, so let's go with that. Okay. Okay, reflex tracker ghost, stim shot. Okay, cool. So of course over here it doesn't matter that I've set up like this, because what I've set up is with a gunfighter. It's allowing me to get those 8 attachments. So when you get your first loadout, you can go ahead and pick up one of the 8 attachments, and you have a handgun. You can pick up another gun along the way. You have your correct perks. And then of course when you get your second loadout, which is quite common, you might buy a loadout and you get a loadout during the game. Okay, let's have a look here over here. Okay, and the ASVAL is sitting in that one. Okay, so side by side. Let's We're going to leave that for now. Let's just make sure that I have stim shot on everything. So if I select even some of these older ones. Yeah, this one I was just set up as a sniper. I don't really use that one at all. I was using the XM4 before. I really did like that one. The XM4 is not as good as the Val for my gameplay at least. So, okay, and then I had an SMG set up over here. I was using the KSV before. These are some of my older loadouts. Let's just change these to stim, so if I do edit them, I'm ready to go. Oh, and I've got bomb squad on there. Remember I said I played with bomb squad sometimes, so I'm going to go ahead and get tracker back. Just want to make sure all my loadouts are the same real quick before I get off of this, and then we will go and see if the recording has worked out and if we can start clipping this and start making some content for you guys. So still pretty new at this, just started yesterday. Also watched quite a lot of content before, so we'll see what I'm able to do down the road. The bomb squad, let's get rid of that. Hack enemy equipment. Okay, reduce kill streak damage. Yeah, that's great. This is a little better for me. There's resolute. We don't want resolute. We want ghost. Let's make sure they're all the same on that. I've got resolute up here as well. I was enjoying resolute at one stage, but I like ghost a little bit better now. Okay. Of course, as the game changes and they make updates and that kind of stuff, we're going to see changes all the time to what you'll be using as your perks, to what you'll be using as your attachments, to what you'll be using as your primary. Of course, myself, I wouldn't say I'm a pro player, so I'm trying to make this channel and trying to make content for more of the average player. So if a lot of the pros are using very low recoil weapons, they're using tactics and they're playing a little bit slower than what I might. So I'm looking to be as entertaining as possible, and very high form, very aggressive gameplay. So that's what I'm looking for there. Okay, perfect. It looks like we've got all of that done. We've chatted loadouts a little bit over here. So we've got that all done. I'm going to go ahead and see now whether or not that has recorded to my Twitch stream. And then I will be back. So thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.